Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams, and we're back with another one of our end of season reviews. This one is on Ben Godfrey. I've got his stats. We'll talk about the best game and the worst game he's had this season for Everton, and then I'll just tell you a little bit about what I think about his season, regardless of what the stats say. Think of it as a stats and then an eye test. Best of both worlds. But this season he has played 23 games for us. Started 23, subbed out for only 2 of them. Played about 2,029 minutes. Has an XG of 1.4, but he is a defender, so 7 shots on target, 7 shots off target, 12 chances created, a total of 705 passes, 12 dribbles attempted, 9 of them successful, 47 tackles attempted, 32 of them successful, 91 clearances, and 15 interceptions won. Very, very good. And now we'll get on to his other stats. This is from FB Ref, and it compares him to the other Premier League. I think it's going to do fullbacks for him. No, it's done centre-backs. Okay, it's done centre-backs. Similar players are Robin Koch, Mohamed Salisu, Tyrone Mings, Tarkowski, who we are linked with, and Christophe Ager from Brentford. You can compare him to centre-backs or full-backs. We'll leave it at centre-back because that's what he naturally is, although he has been playing full-back for us. So we'll do that. His expected assists are 0.03 a game. That is above the average for the Premier League for centre backs. So that's not bad. Shots on target 0.8, which is 85, which is above the Premier League's average by quite a bit. Shots on target 0.27. Again, that is above average for the Premier League. His passes aren't very good. 26 passes completed a game, which is really below the Premier League average by a good 20 odd passes. So that's not very good. Pass completion is 76%. Again, below Premier League average by quite a bit. Coincidentally, Aymeric Laporte is 94% passing accuracy, which doesn't really surprise you when you look at how City play. And his passing really below the Premier League average in a lot of them. Key passes, he does make 0.58 key passes a game. That is above the Premier League's average by quite a nice bit. Passes into the final third at 1.91. That's below the Premier League average. Passes into the penalty area and crosses into the penalty area, though, are above average for the Premier League. And not only that, but he's in the top percentile for Premier League centre-backs. Dead ball passes 4.79 a game, which is pretty above the average. He's got 0.62 crosses, obviously because he's been playing fullback. That's a high percentile for a centre-back. If we were to convert back to fullback, I don't think that'd be that impressive, if I'm being completely honest with you. Now looking at his defensive, because that's what he is. Tackles, 2.35 tackles a game. That is above the Premier League average in the high percentile. He wins 1.15 of them. Again, above the average in a nice bit of the percentile. Tackles in the defensive third, the mid third, and the attack third get better and better. He has 1.29 in the defensive third, 0.84 in the mid third, and 0.22 in the attack third, which is right up there with a high percentile with the rest of the league. Dribblers tackled 0.71. That's above the average as well. Pressures 11.8 pressures a game. That's very, very high percentile. 3.95 of them are successful, which is again in a high percentile for the Premier League. And he just pressures again. He's high up there above the average for the defensive third, mid third, and attack third. 2.13 blocks a game, again above the Premier League average. Passes blocked 1.24, above the average. Interceptions 2.13, above the average again. Very impressive defensively. The number of players tackled plus the number of interceptions is 4.48, again above the average in a nice high percentile in the league. Really, really good. Carries into the final third 1.02. Again, that's quite high for a centre back. Progressive passes recorded received 0.71. Very, very high percentile for that. Yeah. And I think that's the interceptions is 2.13, which is again above the average. So Ben Godfrey going forward, a little bit like that, isn't it? Ben Godfrey defensively, really, really good defensive player. Wish we'd let him just play centre back. I know he's only 183 centimeters. Don't know what that is in feet. I wish they did it in feet. But I don't think he's the tallest centre back in the world. But if you put him next to like a Yerry Mina, then it's fine. He's 6 foot, so he's still quite tall. He's obviously not 6'5", but he's still quite tall. Yeah, I just wish he'd get more of a run out of centre back. I think that's his natural position. I'm not really a fan of playing him full back. I know he does go on these jarring runs, but I still don't think that's his best position. This season, the worst game for me was probably the 3-2 loss to Burnley. He got a yellow card in that as well. I'll read out his stats for that game. Here we go. Half of his passes were accurate. Did create one chance, but he also had one error that led to a goal. Had 100% successful dribbles, 1 out of 1. No accurate long balls, only 36 touches. Winning 2/3 of his tackles, 1 block, 5 clearances, 4 headed, 1 interception, 3 recoveries. He won all of his ground duels, but only 1 of his 3 aerial duels. Again, this is what I was saying, 6 foot. It's not the biggest centre back in the world. Unfortunately, he's still quite big. They're quite tall, but for a centre back, maybe not. But this is why you compare him with like a Yerry Mina, who is going to get those headers. His best game is probably Manchester United, the 1-0 win, which Anthony Gordon got his goal for, which was fantastic to see. Really happy for him. Yeah, his stats for that game. He was paired with Michael Keane this time. In his worst one, he was paired with Gerard Branthwaite, probably a bit too inexperienced at back two. Godfrey is 24, but yeah, he got 1 shot with an XG of a header 0.09, so it wasn't really greatest chances. 77% pass accuracy. Successful dribbles, 1 out of 1. No accurate long balls. I don't think he's very good at passing, especially long balls. I know Michael Keane fancies himself at it from time to time, but Ben Godfrey clearly isn't very good at it. 100% tackles won, 1 block, 13 clearances, 7 of them with his head, 1 interception, 2 recoveries. He won 100% of his ground duels, only 1/4 of his aerial duels. So yeah, it's very, very clear the weaknesses in Ben Godfrey, and he does have them. Passing is a bit of a weakness, and the most jarring one is his heading ability isn't very good, which for a centre back is a bit. But like I said, you're just gonna have to partner him with bigger lads who will win the ball. So like if you're gonna do a Mina, Tarkowski, and then him as a centre back in a free, he could do the ground running. Tarkowski and Mina could win the headers. That might work. That might be how Lampard wants to play next season. I'm not too sure. That's if we do get Tarkowski. I know we're favourites to get him. But yeah, Ben Godfrey, I think is a great player. I'd like to see him be played at centre back instead of us just lobbing him left back, right back, anywhere he fancies, anywhere we fancy putting him. I think he's got a lot of potential. He's got pace, which is something that as a centre back you do need in this modern day and age. Unless you're going to play a low block, then you can get away with it. If you're going to play high pressing football, you need a centre back with a bit of pace. So maybe he's the future for Lampard there at the back. Um, yeah, the tackling is fantastic. Passing, the heading is a bit worrying, but I think in the right system you can cover that up. You can protect his flaws there. For the overall rating of the season, I'm going to give him about a 6. I don't think he's been amazing. I don't think he's been the worst player I've seen. No, I think a 6 is probably fair. I think we're yet to see the best of Ben Godfrey, and I think some of that is down to our own doing, messing him around, chucking him left back, right back, centre back. Just play him wherever. If he's a centre back, play him there. If he said, I want to, just play him there. Actually, don't stick him at right back or left back. I don't think he's got the passing stats for that. I mean, he did used to play at CDM, but again, he's not got the passing stats for that. He'd just be a destroyer of the midfield. You'd have to partner him up with some really good passes of the ball, because that's the only way you're going to get anything creative, is if he just lays it on to the next man. Ball carrying, he's got the pace and the strength, but I don't think his dribbling's top tier, so he'd be a bit of a tough ball carrying midfielder, and you wouldn't want him to go missing because he'd be defensive centre mid. Just play him at centre back in a 3, in a 2. I don't really mind. Just play him at centre back and let him develop in that role, because that's the role he's made for. The more we switch him around, the more it's going to wreck his development. He's 24. You'd hope he really should be pushing for the first team right now, especially with Yerry Mina's injury record, and Michael Keane just being good for a good mistake every now and then. But that's Ben Godfrey's season summed up for me. 6 out of 10. I think the best is yet to come. And I'm excited to see the best from him. But I don't think us as fans have seen that yet. But I do think it's in there. I think it's more that we've been using different systems, different managers playing in different positions. I'd say it's more of the system's fault than him. I don't think he's perfect by any stretch. Like I said, his passing isn't very good and his heading, but he's got the potential to be a solid defender. And it's nice to have a defender who can run. But that's all we've got time for. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and comment down below your thoughts on Ben Godfrey. Give me a rating out of 10. And let me know if you think it's the system that's sort of flawed him here. And stay safe, guys. I'll see you very, very soon.